Hello, hello, everyone. How is everybody doing today? It is another fantastic day for some F1 virtual racing. It is March Madness for the Misfits Racing League, day number 2. Today we are going to be racing Canada, Azerbaijan, and to finish things off for the tournament, Belgium. So I'm super excited that we are going to be able to get into some racing action in just a few moments. Of course, there is $25 US on the line for the winner of the tournament, as we're just getting things ready to go here in game. Take a look at who is leading. It is currently what's he driving today? The Renault driver that you will see ahead of in Canada, I should say. The Renault driver of Recycle Finn currently leading this tournament. He's won 3 races out of 6 so far. He'll be looking to maybe make a sweep on the tournament, but it's not going to be easy for him, as there's Zamajo on the grid. We have Mikau here as well, Samus, Yoda, BTFU, Astrodite, Vettel, Tactical Velcro, Jay making his return, participating in a little racing action today. Jean, Custom, Squirmy, Rackety. We have tons of great drivers in here. Luktra, Gadwin, Henry. Tons of great drivers in here that we are about to jump into Canada. Henry, if you can hear me, my friend, you are welcome to begin things anytime you wish. As we are going to take a look now at what we're going to see in Canada.
All it takes is one look around the crowd to know it's finally race day. The atmosphere at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve is incredible. Personally, I think we're in for a brilliant race. It's one of the fastest races of the season here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, with around 60% of this 2.7-mile circuit taken at full throttle. There are 14 corners to navigate, the very last of which has its very own infamous history. Could be the cause of a safety car today.
Okay, and that wraps up the wonderful Formula One 2019 circuit briefing. So oh my god, I can't even speak today. It is, of course, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve here in Montreal, Canada. Of course, that is where I am. I am in Canada, not Montreal, mind you, but the circuit about 12 hours from me. Beautiful circuit, probably one of my favorites, and I am, of course, biased as a Canadian. As we're just waiting on Vettel now to jump in. So a lot of fun action here yesterday for day number 1. We saw all of our drivers adventure through Austria, then into Suzuka, and to finish things off yesterday, we had Italy. Now today it is going to be Canada, Azerbaijan, which is a tough circuit for a lot of these drivers, I'm sure. And for the grand finale, we are going to have everybody racing in Spa-Francorchamps. It is Belgium. So, super excited for that. Now, just to take everybody through the assists, cars are equal performance. Once again, all assists are enabled for these drivers. Vehicle damage is set to full. It is going to be a one-shot qualifying session ahead of 3 25% distance races. Safety car is enabled. There is no formation lap. Strict corner cutting, as all of these drivers now on the grid getting ahead of that start-finish line. They are going to start their flying laps now. You're going to see a major shuffle up and down the grid as these drivers make their way through the first few turns, and there goes Custom, retiring out in qualification here. Not a good start to day 2 for him. Zamajo in the Ferrari absolutely flying here in qualifying through Sector 1. Sets the first purple sector of the day. Yoda in the other Ferrari, not too far behind him on the grid though. Finn in the Renault jumping into P2 for the time being, and Samus in third. Yoda dropping back a little bit into fourth, but you can see there's a little bit of a shuffle all the way up and down the grid now. The hairpin, a crucial point here to get a good exit. As we go hit turn 10 there, a little kink, almost non-existent turn, moving down through into the Wall of Champions. Turns 11 and 12. Zamajo, can he keep it valid through the chicane? He does, and he keeps flying on, and he is going to take pole with a 108.2, absolute blistering time from the Ferrari. 3 drivers unable to set times here. And there goes Zamajo in the Ferrari on pole position, looking to give Finn a run for his money, literally. Zamajo takes pole position. Finn lines up next to him on the front row. Falcon up into third. Very nice from him. Samus fourth. Yoda fifth. BTFU is sixth for this campaign. Astrodite in seventh. Gadwin eighth. Rackety in ninth. And Henry rounds off the top 10. Velcro 11th. Vettel 12th. Squirmy, who we didn't see drive yesterday, is 13th with Little Bear just behind him in 14th. Jay, a newcomer to the grid for day number 2, is in 15th. Custom not setting a time as we saw him crash out very early on. And Lutra, Mikal, and John all unfortunately being disqualified from their qualifying laps. So not too sure what's happening in the lobby here, as we may have already had a bug to start off our day. Never something that we want to deal with. Just checking some messages here in a moment. Going to see if we're having lobby issues. It's possible that somebody left and bugged it out as we went into qualification. Uh-oh, this is not looking good. Squirmy. Looks like he was bugging the lobby there, as I'm hoping things get themselves sorted out ahead of the race here. I don't think anybody else left just yet. You can see Squirmy no longer on our right-hand side loading in, as he's unfortunately had some loading issues. So he will not be joining us for this race in Canada. That leaves us Gadwin, Lutra, BTFU. Actually, I will go down the grid one more time before we start things off here. Not off of my loading chart, because it's about to disappear on me anyway. No formation lap. It is going to be 5 red lights. And the drivers are off. We're going to take a look down at turn 1 here. Very important for all of these drivers to have a clean turn 1 and 2, and 3 and 4 are also quite crucial as well. So far, everybody looking like they're getting away relatively clean here through the opening phase of this race. Very good. Squirmy not with us. As you can see, he is in 19th. His car in the pits at the moment. Zamajo in the lead of this race with Finn not too far behind him, as we've had a major bug here. That is Squirmy in the pits. He has jumped into lead of this race, technically speaking. Not too sure what's happening there. Hopefully that gets sorted out. But Zamajo is most definitely leading this race in that Ferrari, with Finn and Samus trying to stay very close with him. Having started on pole position, though, he has a great jump into that first turn. And he definitely controls the pace of the race if he gets a good start through into that opening phase of this circuit. All the drivers now coming through Wall of Champions, keeping things relatively clean. Nobody into the wall just yet. You can see now Squirmy's car returning to the back of the grid as all of these drivers cross the line for the first time. Zamajo making his way through 3-4 now up into 5-6. Finn just over a second away from the Ferrari. Samus dropping back behind him now as well. Jean taking a 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings. Remember, guys, corners is on strict Yoda in the Ferrari. He's looking to catch up to Samus here in that Renault coming out of turn 8. Going down into the hairpin, turn 9. BTFU in that Toro Rosso, you can see him there as well. And Astrodate in the McLaren not too far behind him. Mikal not having the qualifying I'm sure he wanted to have here in this race. He starts on the soft compound tires, and he's going to look up to make some spots back up on the grid. Finn now stretching his car out so that he's able to get back into the DRS of Zamajo. You can see him just tapping his toes into the water under that 1 second mark there on the timing tower. Samus, however, has dropped back a significant amount behind his teammate in the Renault. Yoda is absolutely blistering in that Ferrari behind him, though, and really wants to get that podium position away from Samus. He is going to have the DRS here coming out of turn 6 as we move through into the 7-8 chicane. Keeping it nice and close to the rear of that Renault here. We have a beautiful camera angle on the front right of this wing. Coming down into turn 9, the hairpin. Ooh, Yoda thinks about the inside there. Samus doing a good job of closing the door. He's going to maintain that 3rd position, but Yoda is going to have DRS down this back straight, and it is very strong here. Canada circuit with multiple DRS zones, making it very easy for these drivers to stay within close proximity. Yoda still not able to get that move done. He is going to have DRS down the pit straight now. Is he going to make a move? He does. He is going around the inside of Samus down into turn 1. You can see him getting out in front of that Renault there. BTFU watching all of this unfold. Now BTFU on a charge in the Toro Rosso. He's going to have DRS on Samus, but Samus still within the DRS of Yoda is going to have it as well. BTFU, you can see, getting a very good run out of turn 6 there into the 7-8 chicane. A little bit of a slip on the exit of turn 8 here as we go down into the hairpin. Samus going a little wide there, leaving the inside wide open for BTFU. He's going to gain a lot of time in this turn. He is going to have DRS on Samus, and Samus just barely maintaining DRS proximity to the Ferrari ahead of him. That is Yoda. BTFU, a major cut there on the Wall of Champions chicane. That is going to affect his race finish for sure, unless he serves that time penalty in the pits, which I doubt. Samus catching up to Yoda once again. Finn in that Renault currently sat in 2nd position. He is struggling to keep up with the very fast Zamajo. Zamajo giving me flashbacks to Sebastian Vettel here in the 2019 season. But we all know how that went. So hopefully there's no wheel-to-wheel action causing any damage to either of these drivers, or, you know, an FIA penalty. But BTFU here in the Toro Rosso doing a very good job of sticking with Samus. Astrodite leading another train back here. We have a couple of little trains out on circuit right now. Rackety and Falcon are going to be fighting Astrodite very soon here for 6th position, as they are going to have DRS on him moving down the back straight. Astrodite not quite in DRS proximity of BTFU, is going to lose out here on the straight. Vettel in P9, we saw him have a very unfortunate turn of events yesterday as he was unable to finish all 3 rounds. Not the results he wanted to see coming into this tournament, especially the results on day 1. Little Bear behind Gadwin now, fighting for P10. He is currently 4/10 away. BTFU and Samus doing a very good job of sticking with Yoda here. As you can see, Little Bear very, very close to the rear of that Red Bull as we have a beautiful aerial shot. He makes a move around the inside of the... Wow. The 3-4 chicane. Very, very nice on that 3-4 chicane. Little Bear making a very easy move up into 10th, and that's Custom now as well, moving up into 11th. Gadwin losing out there He is going to have DRS to try and make a switch back into the 7-8 chicane, but nothing doing. Custom now catching up with Little Bear, trying to stick with that Alfa Romeo. Falcon on the rear of Rackety with the DRS. Is he going to be able to make something happen here into the 11-12 Wall of Champs chicane? Looks like he's going to keep it patient and stay very close to the rear of that Alpha. A little bit of a brush of the Wall of Champs there. And you can see Samus, BTFU, and Vettel all deciding it's time to get off of those soft tires. The soft tires here in Canada degrade very, very quick. But even more importantly than that, I am eager to see who out of the two front runners is going to blink first. Will it be Zamajo, or is it going to be the Renault of Recycle Finn as Falcon into P6 now, still doing a very good job of sticking with Rackety, and Rackety catching up to the McLaren of Astrodite as well. Now BTFU and Samus both onto the fresh tires. We're going to jump on over to them real quick. Let's see if they're going to make some early passes out of the pits on the fresh compound tires. Velcro, ooh, a big slide out from the rear of that McLaren there. He's going to lose a ton of time. You can see the Renault of Samus just charging on him down the hairpin. That's Samus. Very, very tight in the inside of the hairpin, making it up into P11, and now BTFU on those fresh mediums going to have to fight through Velcro in order to catch Samus. So Samus putting himself into a good position here. He does have the DRS. Velcro is sitting duck, doing a very good job of defending here into the 11-12 chicane. Finn, Astrodite, Falcon, Rackety all deciding to jump into the pits. Yoda as well. So Finn, out of the two front runners, comes out in fourth. Zamajo pitted and had such a good gap that he managed to get out in first. Little Bear into the second position on the grid with the 7-lap-old soft compound tires. Finn absolutely raining down on him with the DRS now. The fresh compound tires and the absolute power of that Renault is going to make a very easy move down the inside of that Alfa Romeo through the 7-8 chicane. You can see Little Bear definitely struggling here with that. With the old soft compound tires, the degradation is going to be absolutely killing him. As Custom, you can see here making a move up the inside of Little Bear into the hairpin. Very nice move from the Williams driver of Custom. He did start this race on those mediums. Will we see a pit from him now, or is he going to go a little longer? I think he can go a little longer for sure on those mediums. Little Bear. Ooh, a little bit of a brush with the rear of Custom there. He's lost a front wing, and Custom gets a 3-second time penalty for getting pushed through that 11-12 chicane. So, Little Bear into the pits, Gadwin into the pits, and Velcro all into the pits. So, it is back to Zamajo and Finn at the front of the grid, but Zamajo has now pulled 3.2 seconds out of the Renault. Custom in third on those 8-lap-old mediums with Jean not too far behind him. He's within 3 seconds. Are going to be fighting to maintain those positions and pull a gap away from Samus, but it's going to be quite difficult with Samus on those fresh tires. Falcon 9 takes a 3-second time penalty. As we are now at the halfway point on lap 9 here in Canada of this race, BTFU is very, very quick behind the rear of Samus in that Toro Rosso. BTFU with great speed will be looking to make a pass on Samus. Will he be able to make a move down the inside of the hairpin? No, he thinks better of it. Samus going a little wide there on the hairpin again. Seems like he may be struggling a little bit through that hairpin. Could just be the line that he likes to take, but he is going to be suffering now with BTFU and the DRS around the outside. Samus is sitting duck. Nothing he can do to defend against the speed of that Toro Rosso with the DRS. BTFU doing a good job making it clean through Wall of Champions. We saw him take a penalty earlier there in that chicane. Samus has already dropped back a second behind that Toro Rosso, but that's Astrodite next to Samus here, making a move around the outside. Is he going to be able to get it done? No. He's going to have to wait to fight another day as we move into 3-4. He's dropping back behind Samus a little bit. Both him and Samus saving through these turns. BTFU catching up with John. John on the 9-lap-old mediums. BTFU on the fresher tires. A lot of these drivers picking their battles very carefully, as you would normally see a lot of drivers diving turns and chicanes like this. Fortunately, we have a lot of level-headed drivers on the grid today, able to wait. They understand it's not a 5-lapper, it's an 18-lap race. A lot of time to get moves done at the moment. BTFU making it nice up through into fourth there on the inside of John. And that's Samus alongside John now. You can see all of these cars moving down this back straight into the wall of champions. Samus and BTFU very tight through that chicane. Samus with the DRS looking to gain some momentum into turn 1 here as we enter lap 11 for these drivers. One thing I touched on yesterday, Samus on the Fanatec wheel, BTFU is on a pad. So a battle of the controllers here. Wheel versus gamepad. The signature battle. Astroday is going to be within the DRS of Samus going through into Sector 3 in just a moment if he's able to get a good exit out of turn 8 here, and it looks like he does. The hairpin is going to be crucial as they are all passing the DRS detection zone now. I think Astroday might have just nicked the DRS, and he did. So he's going to have DRS catching him up to P4. Samus with the DRS on BTFU, not quite close enough to make a move here. He looks inside. He understands there's no way I'm making that move clean. BTFU in third right now. Samus battling for a podium as we are currently on lap 12, and we have a safety car deployed. That is Gadwin in the Red Bull out of this race at probably the most typical place you'd see a crash like that happen. It is, of course, the infamous Wall of Champions. So safety car conditions, this is going to play in the favor of a lot of drivers on this grid now, as we have only 6 laps remaining in this race. I have a feeling we're going to see some pit stops here. This is going to definitely hurt Zamajo's chances at a win. We'll see if he decides to stay out. As you can see now, he's coming down that Sector 3 back straight. Jay, the funky JJ, currently 17th. He's into the pits, and Squirmy, of course, has been there the entire race. So that is Zamajo, the race leader, into the pits now, and I do believe Finn has stayed out. He is gambling here on those medium compound tires. He's thinking, hey, I might be okay. The softs are going to degrade quite quick here in Canada, but BTFU, Samus, who have both made some very difficult choices on tires over the past few races, both in MRL and yesterday in day 1. Getting in on the action, getting onto those soft compound tires. The entire grid now deciding to jump on those tires. Yoda and Astrodite aren't joining the club. They're staying out with the cool kids club on the mediums. Luktra on those hards, 10 laps on the hards. We didn't actually notice that earlier on. So he's been racing on these hards for the entirety of the race, decides not to pit, and he is staying out. So could we have a nice position for Luktra at the end of this race? It's going to be difficult because now a lot of these drivers on the fresher soft compound tires are going to have a lot of speed, as they are the quickest tire on circuit. Zamajo out onto the softs in second position, not going to have any traffic to go through with the exception of Finn to regain race lead, and Astrodite and Yoda behind him on those mediums. So hopefully BTFU made the right call here and can pick up some good speed to catch up to the podium. As we saw him on third position earlier, he dove into the pits for these softs. Yoda and Astrodite, of course, overtook him while he was in that pit lane, getting the tires switched over. So he is going to have more speed in his tires than Yoda and Astrodite, but they do have track position. Astrodite, you can see weaving there down the pit straight, looking to get those tires warm. Safety car more than likely going to be coming in at the end of lap 14 here. Falcon takes a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Vettel. It just seems that over the course of some of our MRL races and league races, and of course day one yesterday of the March Madness Tournament, some of the drivers still struggling to understand that when the safety car is out, guys, it's extremely important to slow down. Don't take any unnecessary risks. Give the driver ahead of you some space, and by extension, the driver behind you will give you space as well. And it just makes it so that you don't ruin your race when everybody's driving slowly, you know, losing end plates or blowing your wing off or taking penalties being the most severe, I would think. But take it easy. Let the grid reform. Don't take any unnecessary risks. And of course, keep your delta pace where it needs to be so that you don't ruin your own race when you may not know it. But the safety car, a lifeline for a lot of drivers throughout these races, especially in 25% distance races, because it really starts the race. And you can see there the front end plate. I do believe that's Yoda tapping the rear of a driver. He's taken a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Astrolite. Penalties now at the safety car restart are, if not before, more than ever, they are going to make a major impact to the finale of this race. So we'll have to see how the grid shapes up. Keep in mind, guys, if you're just tuning in, we have 2 more races to go after this. We're going to be going to Azerbaijan next, which I can only assume is going to be an extremely exciting race. And our finale in Belgium. You can see an end plate flying off here as we are back to green flag racing. Finn into the lead of this race. Zamajo, with these soft compound tires, is going to be doing everything he can to get that race position back quick, because those softs are going to go, and they're going to go fast. Astrolite in third right now in the McLaren. He's currently a 1.5 seconds behind our second position driver, but that's Zamajo, still super tight to the rear of the Renault. We aren't going to have DRS here until, I do believe, lap 17. So Zamajo going to have to do everything he can to stay behind the Renault with that Ferrari power on those soft compound tires. He's got a great exit here out of turn 8. Look at that move down the inside. He takes a look. Finn doing everything he can to keep Zamajo out of that position. Finn, who's going to have the better exit here? Looks like Finn. Oh, and there's a big push off to the side. He completely cuts Zamajo into the wall. He didn't give him any space at all there through turn 9. Or sorry, the exit of turn 9. Zamajo not going to be happy about that. Fortunately for Zamajo, I don't believe he took any damage. He did not. So Zamajo going to be driving angry now, because that was very dirty indeed from the Finn driver. Unless it was lag. It could have been lag, but that was not too nice. Still a good fight, though, for the lead nonetheless. Astrolite third, BTF fourth, Custom rounding off the top 5 right now. Custom on the 5-lap-old softs. He's going to be feeling the degradation by the end of this race for sure. And you can see after the restart, we've seen a multitude of penalties that come across the board. Finn just needs to keep Zamajo behind him long enough for those tires to feel their wear, so that when the DRS comes, he has good power on the straights. Coming through turn 9 exit now. This is where we saw a little bit of a scrap earlier on, tapping that turn 10 non-existent corner. Good run down into 11-12 here, but it's not going to be enough without that DRS. Finn cursing under his breath right now, I can only imagine, at the fact that this is such a DRS-dominated circuit. 3 DRS zones. The pit lane, of course, the back straight down into the Wall of Champions, and the Sector 2 long straight as well before the 7-8 chicane. So, a lot of opportunity here for Zamajo to stay within the rear of this Renault, and Finn's not going to be happy about it being on those mediums at all. Ooh, making a move down the inside here. Oh my God, it's tight. Zamajo not able to get the move done out of 3-4 there. Moving down the Sector 2 straight, DRS enabled. He does have the great run. He makes a move. Wow, what a pass from Zamajo here. Finn, though, going to be looking to get that position back fast, as he is on the medium tires. If he's going to get it done, he's going to have to get it done before we move into lap number 18. This is, of course, guys, the second last lap of the race. Finn now with the DRS. down the back straight. He has a great run here. You can see how powerful that DRS is, and those medium compound tires playing a huge role for traction. Zamajo, a huge cut there through the wall of champ chicane. He's going to take a 3-second time penalty, and that is only going to hurt him here, as he has led that race. He has led this race pretty well the entire campaign. He maintains that lead, but is that penalty going to play a big enough role here? Finn, definitely hoping so. Finn going to have to do a very good job here of keeping it out of the exceeded track limit area and not cutting any corners, as you're going to see now. DRS for the Finn driver in the Renault coming down sector 2. DRS just helps these cars carry so much speed. Astrodate and BTFU having a fight now for third at the moment. Looks like BTFU made a good pass on Astrodate there to jump into the podium. But it's all about this battle for first place right now, guys. Finn dropping back a bit. Hopefully he's had a clean race and he's able to take his 4th straight victory here for the weekend event. Big cut there. Not too sure what he was thinking. That might have cost him a race win here. Zamajo crosses the line on track first. Finn finishing second in the Renault. BTFU finishes in third on track, but Astrodate keeping it clean will jump onto the podium. Very nice from him. And Custom, a good job of taking 5th. Rackety 6th. Excuse me, we've had some penalties come into play like we mentioned before. Vettel taking 5th position, his weekend best finish. Custom in 6th. Henry finishing out in the Toro Rosso 7th. Little Bear in 8th. Falcon in 9th. And Mikow not having the race he wanted to have, I'm sure, finishing off in 10th. Rackety 11th. Jean 12th. Luktra in 13th. Samus not having the best race either. He finishes 14th here. We saw him running with the big boys. Well, I shouldn't say the big boys, but the race leaders earlier on, as Samus is extremely, extremely quick. But through some of these league races that we've had, or I should say these event races we've had, he's just had some tough luck, as incidents have unfortunately plagued him for a majority of the races. You can see the Ferrari there. No second place for Ferrari this time around here in Canada. Zamajo righting the wrong that was, of course, Sebastian Vettel's P2 last season. Very good to see Zamajo taking a race win away from the very fast Recycle Finn, who won all 3 races yesterday. Zamajo doing his part to try and challenge him for that $25 US, as there are weekend event leaders at the moment. Let's take a look now at the times. Yoda finishing 15th. He's not going to be happy about that. As you can see, he started in 5th. He's taken a multitude of penalties here throughout the race. Velcro starting 11th. He drops back into 16th. And Jay 17th. And Gadwin, who we saw crash, unfortunately, at the Wall of Champions and causing that safety car earlier on, unable to finish this race. So, as we jump back into the lobby before the race gets underway for Azerbaijan, if you guys are new to the stream, be sure to smash that follow button, as we have league racing every Thursday at 5 o'clock Central, and we are going to be doing more weekend events like this in the future. We're about to jump into Baku, and who better to tell us about Baku than the F1 professionals themselves? So, take it away, guys.
Time again. Time for some exciting Formula One action. Who will emerge victorious in the Battle of Baku? Well, we're just about ready to get underway, so welcome to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. The Baku City Circuit measures roughly 6 kilometers and is made up of 20 corners and 2 DRS zones. The circuit winds around the narrow city, through the old town, and even brushes against the city's medieval walls. However, as beautiful as the setting is, this track is also a ferocious technical challenge, where the smallest of mistakes could lead to catastrophic consequences for all of our drivers.
Fantastic circuit. I absolutely, personally, when I'm playing F1, I love driving the circuit. It is a very, very quick circuit, technical circuit, a lot of 90-degree turns in sector one. Of course, turn one, turn two, three, four, five, six, all being 90-degree turns. Sector two, very technical with that castle section as well. And then the nice long sector three, all of the straights. Very, very fun circuit. I will give everybody a disclaimer. Try to avoid overtaking into turn 15, as last season we saw a scrap between Zamajo and Mikau there, where Zamajo tried to go on the inside of Mikau in turn 15, and it did not end well for either driver, if I remember right. To answer the question in the chat, we don't have an exact real-time standings at the moment because it is such a small event. However, I can guarantee you that Zamajo and Recycle Finn, as you can see, Zamajo there in the Ferrari, and Finn, who's currently 14th on grid, I'll find him for you. Finn is leading the championship without a doubt, as he won all 3 races on day 1. Last race, Zamajo with the victory, Finn only coming 2nd position, looking to challenge him here on day 2. Looks like Custom had a bit of a bug there. Finn has dropped out of pole position. Falcon's currently running in 2nd as we move up through Castle. Zamajo and Falcon neck and neck in the quali. As you can see there, their names keep swapping positions. Falcon looks like he got a better exit out of the Castle section. Right when I switch to Falcon, Zamajo overtakes his position in the quali. So Zamajo taking pole position here in Baku. So that's 2 poles in a row for Zamajo. And I don't believe he took pole in Monza yesterday, but he did unfortunately fail to qualify in both of our first rounds yesterday, which is possibly why Finn was able to sweep day 1 with race victories. But it is going to be Zamajo lining up on the grid, number 1, Falcon next to him, 2nd, Mikau 3rd, Finn qualifying 4th here, so he'll have some ground to make up. Luke 5th, John 6th, Astrate 7th, Samus 8th, BTFU in 9th, and Henry rounding off the top 10. Yoda 11th, Little Bear 12th, Vettel 13th, Velcro 14th, Gadwin 15th, Rackety 16th, and Custom in 17th. As we are about to go racing here in Baku, all of these drivers finalizing their race strategies, as it is a 25% distance campaign. And we are going to have another race right after this one to finish things off in Belgium. Timer ticking down now, 1 second to go here before all of these drivers are forced into the cockpits of their race cars and lights go on. It is 5 lights on here in Bahrain, and it's lights out and away we go. All of our drivers off here as we move into turn 1. It's a very fast turn 1 here. A lot of contact possible, but it looks like everybody got clean away, and that is Henry off here at the start, and we have a VSC here into turn 1. Let's have a look at Henry. As we can see here, he has unfortunately lost a very good portion of that front wing. His race is not going how he wanted it, and you can see there Custom missing a front left unplate. Everybody needs to slow down for the VSC, of course, reduce their delta pace. Falcon currently in lead of this race, getting a quick overtake on our pole sitter Zamajo. Finn into third, and Mikau in that racing point is fourth at the moment, with his teammate Jean very close behind him. All of these drivers eagerly awaiting that VSC to go offline so that they can go back to green flag racing. And we are back to green flag racing, and there's a huge overtake from Zamajo there. Falcon sleeping the restart. Finn, though, he gets way out ahead. Oh my God, Finn got a great jump there. You can see Falcon struggling with traction here on the restart. His tires got a little cold. Falcon has dropped into third. He was leading this race at the restart. He's taken major damage on the front of that Williams, and there's an absolute shuffle here with Finn getting an absolute lightning start here on the restart after the VSC. Zamajo is out of this race. He's crashed in the Sector 3 straight going into the pit straight. So Zamajo, our previous race winner, is now out of this race here. Finn currently in the lead with Jean and Mikau wheel to wheel into turn one. Mikau getting better of his teammate there. And that's Vettel and Velcro wheel to wheel as well. And then Velcro loses out to Vettel. Little Bear and Samus going wheel to wheel. What a crazy amount of wheel to wheel action here that we've had throughout the first couple of laps. John sticking with Mikau. Mikau with a huge gap to Finn in the lead at the moment. We have 4 drivers out here in Baku. Yoda into the pits, looking for a fresh wing. Custom, Astrodite, all into the pits. Luktra is just coming out of the pits now, and we have a full safety car. So, Kolka, Falcon, Zamajo, and Henry out of this race, which is crazy to think Falcon and Zamajo started this race on the front row. So as things slow down now, you can see all of these drivers have some kind of damage. I can only assume that everybody that hasn't already pitted is going to go into the pits, and this could be very, very good for Mikau, considering the gap between him and our race leader Finn at the moment. What an absolute crazy amount of action here in Baku. It just never disappoints. There's always something happening here. Okay. So, we are back. And I am very sorry that we unfortunately dropped the stream for a few moments there. We had some, or I should say I had some technical difficulties on my end of things, and all of my controls and cloud settings for F1 are completely out the window. So safety car is coming in. Fortunately, we were under safety car conditions when the stream crashed, so we didn't miss too much action. All 4 drivers that we saw retired before still retired here. Restart coming our way now. Mikau doing everything he can to catch up to Finn. Moving down into turn 1. We are green flag racing now as Finn crosses the line. Little Baron Luktra, wheel to wheel. That's Luktra out in front at the moment. He takes the inside into turn 2. He gets out in front of Little Bear. Little Bear going to do what he can to make that position back down through turn 3 here. He's moving down the outside. He's looking. Luktra staying on the inside. Early on the brakes is Little Bear. Luktra doing a good job of keeping that position, but he goes a little wide there through turns 4. Up through turns 5 and 6 now. There goes Vettel in 12th. He is retired out of the session now. He is going to drop out of the grid. Samus on the rear of Velcro, very, very close. Jump back up to the front, where Finn has pulled out 2 seconds on Mikau. Very, very quick in that Renault. Mikau doing what he can in that racing point to try and close the gap. Lutra, ooh, there goes Mikau into the turn 15 wall. Lutra gonna be able to move up on Mikau quite easily here. As we can see, Mikau has some significant front left damage on that wing. Lutra, front wing fully intact here into second position on those mediums. In a very good race position. Mikau struggling. Astrate and Little Bear both overtaking him in the Sector 3 straight here. And there's a massive lineup down into turn 1 as we come through the pit straight now. Astrate in third. He's fighting with Little Bear. Little Bear out in front. Astrate on the outside right now. Little Bear moving on the inside. He gets a great exit, Little Bear. Astrate trying to keep up with him. Little bit of a traction struggle through turn 2 there. Astrate not getting a good exit at all. BTFU though, wheel to wheel with Astrate down into turn 3. BTFU out in front of the McLaren driver. He is going to jump into 4th position, and Velcro is catching up to Astrate as well in the other McLaren. So Astrate on those hard compound tires, definitely feeling the slow tire delta at the moment. And there's a little bit of a tap from Velcro on the rear of Astrate. Samus is very close to this action as well, with Yoda and Rackety right behind him. Jean, it's just a massive train down. There goes Astrate off into the runoff area. Velcro into 5th. Yoda, Samus, Rackety, and John all moving up in position. We'll see if Astrate's able to hold it out in the points in 10th at the moment. Samus currently running in 7th, within half a second of the Ferrari Yoda. Yoda now moving down into turn 15, trying to catch up to the rear of that McLaren Velcro. No DRS yet, but as we enter lap number 7, the DRS will be enabled now and play a huge role throughout the circuit for some of these drivers, as Velcro and Yoda almost come together there. Rackety trying to push on Samus now. Very close to Samus. He's going to have DRS out of turn 2. Samus and Yoda also going to have DRS. Yoda, he looked inside for a second there, but he decided not now. Not the best place to try and make a move here. He's just going to try and close that gap even further to the McLaren in front. But that's Rackety and Samus. Rackety looked outside. Samus pushed him off a little bit, said, no way, not here. What are you doing? Come on. Samus down into turn 7. This is very tight racing here in the midfield right now. Unfortunately, not too much action going on at the front, as Finn has effectively run away with this race, currently in the lead on the 4-lap-old mediums. 5.3 seconds is the gap between him and second position. Little Bear in third, Lutra in second, BTFU fourth. Velcro dropping back from Yoda. Yoda getting it done out of Castle section there. He's going to look to make the switch back, as he is on the fresher compound mediums, and he is going to get the DRS down this straight. We'll see if he's able to make something happen into turn 1. He's carrying a lot of speed, and we're not even in the DRS zone yet, and Yoda not going to have DRS here. You can see a very clean overtake out in front of that Ferrari from the McLaren here. Moving down into turn 1, what's going to happen here? Yoda on the rear of the McLaren, nothing going on, no wheel-to-wheel action there. But Samus and Rackety still battling, and Jean has now joined the fight as well. Mikau, one thing to note, has jumped onto some fresh softs for a new wing as well, so he could be clipping quite a bit here. Hopefully make up some race positions. The gap is quite significant. but there are still 5 to 6 laps remaining here in this race. Yoda and Velcro consistently battling here, playing the DRS swap game. You tell me, I'll tell you is what's going through their minds. BTFU, though, is going to be under threat very shortly here if Yoda continues at his current pace, as BTFU may have had an issue here with his front wing. You saw him slow through that turn there. It's very slow up through Castle here. He's trying to keep it easy. He's missing an end plate on the front right end, so he is going to be dropping massive amounts of pace to that Ferrari behind him. Yehuda getting a very easy overtake on BTFU there into turn 1. BTFU struggling with that front end plate missing. I don't know what he's going to do, as Velcro is going to be able to catch him quite easy as well. And not only is Velcro going to catch him, but Velcro is towing along a serious train of drivers right now. Rackety and Samus fighting. There's Samus with the DRS. He's looking inside, but Rackety goes inside first, looking to make an overtake on Velcro. Rackety pushes him. Hopefully Velcro was able to keep it out of the wall there, and it looks like he was, as that front right end plate is still with us. BTFU struggling to keep up with the rear of that Ferrari, and he's going to be dropping positions now, as these turns are going to be very hard to make. Baku is not a circuit where you want to lose any kind of downforce on your car, as some of these turns, especially this fast left, right, left from the castle section here in Sector 2, can definitely suck when you don't have a wing on your car. Samus has dropped back behind Rackety a little bit. Doesn't have any damage on that front wing. He could just be saving to go for another good charge in a moment. Velcro keeping up well with Samus in P7. Jean has dropped back significantly from the McLaren. Not too sure what's going on with him, but he's lost 10 seconds to Mick within the last 2 laps. Samus gonna have DRS on Rackety. Rackety DRS on the Toro Rosso of BTFU. Samus gaining. Not close enough in order to make a move just yet for either of these men. But soon, if I can imagine. And that is another end plate being flung off another car there. I'm not too sure who that was. It may have been Yoda. Yoda missing his front left end plate. May have just evened things up for the driver of BTFU, who's missing his right end plate. So together, combined, they make one full wing. But it's all about pace, and if BTFU is able to catch up Yoda, that's going to be huge for him, because Rackety and Samus aren't screwing around here. They are trying to get into those podium points. Sector 1 yellow flag, that is Astrodite, I do believe, out of this race. Look at how close these cars are moving through this straight section here. Look at the battle that is going on here. We got 4 cars coming down the pit straight here. Almost everybody's going to have DRS. I think Yoda, the only one that won't. You can see Samus absolutely blistering down Rackety up into 4th now. BTFU on his outside. It's 3 wide down into turn 1. Samus backs off. Rackety goes wide, and BTFU gets caught behind him, and Samus with a very smooth pass into P4. Now he has a gap to make up. 5.9 between him and the podium. Rackety into 5th, BTFU in 6th, and Yoda making a move round the inside of BTFU. But BTFU really late on the brakes. Does he pull it out? He goes into the wall a little bit there. You saw the big lockup from Rackety in the Alfa Romeo. He's going to drop some time behind the Renault of Samus as well. And Tactical Velcro is just sneaking through here. Yoda not going to be happy about that, as he's now dropped into 8th position, and Custom retires from this race. You can see his car there on the track map in turn 1. I'm not too sure what happened there. He might have spun. But Yoda and Jean now, Yoda has absolutely no front wing on his car. Mikau is already caught up to all of this action. Mikau in that racing point, keeping things clean, absolutely flying up through the grid. We saw him very early on in one of the race leadership positions. Now he's doing what he can with the remainder of this race to make it back up into the points. Jean now P8 with a clean front wing. He is gaining on the Toro Rosso of BTFU, and all of the grid has now spaced out. But what a crazy hectic lap 11 we have had here with all of the position changes. Samus being the one to make out like a bandit, and you can see there Jean with that front wing fully intact, and Mikau as well, both easily overtaking the Toro Rosso of BTFU. And I can only imagine the frustration going through Yoda's mind right now. He is going to be very upset about losing that front wing and ruining his race effectively, as he was earlier on fighting for podium positions. Mikau showing the speed of those softs, though. He's moved up into 8th position, and he is absolutely gaining on his teammate Jean. BTFU into the pits, Yoda overtaking him. Rackety currently less than a second separating him and Samus. We'll see if he's able to take a run at him here in the second final lap of the race. He's got to maintain at least 1 second of a gap between Samus, or less than a second of a gap, in order to maintain DRS, and that DRS is extremely crucial here, especially in Sector 3, as Rackety charging around the straights here. Samus down into turn 15. One thing to note here, we've started this race with 18 drivers, only 11 are remaining. We are on the final lap of the race, and you can see Finn is just cruising in the lead of this race with an 11-second gap to Lutra behind. Lutra, though, should be happy about getting a second place finish here, as he's had a very rough past couple of days. Little Bear in 3rd. Samus in 4th, Rackety 5th, Velcro in 6th, but he's being overtaken. Look at Jean. What the heck is going on here? So Velcro absolutely denying Jean there as best as he could. And that's very poor driving from Velcro there. I'm very glad I got to witness that, as Velcro, very dirty move there. Jean with the clear DRS trying to overtake him. Unfortunately gets pushed into the left wall, and definitely loses out to his teammate Mikau here, who is now up into 6th position. 4.0 was the gap between him and Rackety, but he is on those softs. Definitely going to be feeling some tire degradation, but hopefully he's able to close that gap and jump further into the points, as Rackety's on the 10-lap-old mediums. Samus not going to be able to catch up to Little Bear, I don't think, here. And that's Finn taking the victory here in Baku. Lutra now coming down the straight. He is going to be taking 2nd position home with him today in Azerbaijan. Little Bear now, one of his best MRL finishes to date. Although it is a tournament, I am very happy to see him on the podium. Very good for him. And Samus getting what I think is probably his best result of the tournament so far there in fourth, sorry. Rackety finishes fifth. Mikau comes home in sixth after such a turbulent drive. He just had everything thrown at him throughout this race, and very good for him to pull it out, finish off in sixth. Jean, however, getting screwed over, if I may say, in that penultimate lap where Velcro completely denied him an overtake into turn 3. Velcro finishing 8th, BTFU in 9th, Gadwin in 10th, and Yoda now rounding the final few turns here before the very long pit straight. As you can see, he decided not to pit for a new wing and says, you know what, I'm out of the points. I'm just going to finish with what I've got and see what happens. So he's going to finish out of the points here. We have one more race to go as he crosses the line, and that is going to be Belgium. That's right, guys. Spa-Francorchamps. It's going to be a crazy race, but definitely Baku going to be a hard one to top. Take a look at how things panned out. Finn takes the race win. Luktra in second, and Little Bear rounding off the podium. Samus in fourth. Rackety fifth. Mikau in sixth. Jean 7th, Tactical Velcro in 8th, BTFU 15 9th, Gadwin in 10th, Yoda in 11th, Custom in 12th, Astrodite in 13th, 14th for Vettel, Kolka in 15th, 16th for Falcon, Zamajo 17th, Henry, unfortunately, not able to finish this race. As we look at all of the DNFs, all drivers from Custom through to Henry DNFing here in this race. Yoda, the last driver to finish. So, that was, of course, the Baku Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And we have one more race to go, and that is Belgium. So, once this ticker counts down, okay, so we are now back in the lobby. Very unfortunately, I suffered some technical difficulties there that last race. So I just got to make sure I get everything back under control. Thank you to those of you who stuck around while I was getting things sorted out.
It's Sunday and that means it's race time here in Spa. As the cars are being prepared, let's join them trackside for the start of the Belgian Grand Prix. Spa-Francorchamps then, a historic 19-corner circuit with a lap distance of 4.35 miles. There's over 100 meters of elevation change here, and with long stretches of the lap spent flat out, a good top speed will be vital for success.
That was our look at the Belgian circuit. It is Spa. Now, one-shot qualifying, 25% race distance, and this is, of course, race number 6 of 6 for this weekend's March Madness action. If you guys have been following along this weekend, be sure to hit that follow button to know when we go live for our league races, and we're also going to have more of these events happening in the near future. Jay, back with us for this race. All of these drivers now getting things set up for their race, getting their car setups tweaked and ready to go ahead of the one-shot qualifying. About half of the drivers ready to go here so far, and more continue to ready up as well. Looks like 3 drivers left remaining. Custom, Vettel, and Finn all getting things set up, and we are ready to go here for one-shot quali. We'll jump on with the pole provisional pole leader when we get one. I do believe it is going to be Zamajo for the time being. Up through Eau Rouge now. Eau Rouge, hopefully everybody's able to keep it nice and tight and tidy up through there after the opening turn of the race. Of course, Belgium is a historically known circuit for crazy things to happen. Unfortunately, we saw a fatality there for the F2 driver Antoine Hubert last season, and Juan Manuel Correa getting involved in that as well. So those are things that we'd never like to see, most definitely in the real world of Formula One racing. It's a lot easier to take these things for granted when you're playing a video game, what you may or may not do up through these turns, but there are drivers racing these circuits every day, putting themselves at risk, and so hopefully these drivers are all able to keep things clean here in Spa. Not to get super, deep there, but I see that happening quite frequently in video games, people going crazy, crashing into things, and I can only imagine being an F1 driver watching that stuff going down, saying that's, it's not really that funny. But Zamajo leading this qualifying here, Finn very close to him. We're going to see what the times look like in just a second. Zamajo, a 142.9, his fastest lap. Finn, a 143.2. Little Bear Yoda, unfortunately, looks like they had some issues there in qualifying. And we saw a multitude of drivers here, unfortunately, get disqualified out of this one shot. So with that being said, I'd like to say it's anyone's race, but I will say this. Going into this round, Finn is winning the MRL March Madness Tournament. He has taken 4 wins out of the previous 5 races. Zamajo, the only one so far that's been able to contest him with that race win we saw earlier on today in Canada. So, looking like Finn is the provisional event winner. But of course, not until the end of this race, as we'll announce that. 10 seconds to go. Zamajo on pole, Finn number 2, Vettel 3rd, Lutra 4th, Falcon in 5th, Astrodite 6th, Velcro 7th, Funky JJ in 8th, Henry in 9th. And I didn't get to see the rest of the grid there, but majority of the grid did not qualify due to a disqualification, a corner cut, and exceeding of the track limits somewhere along the line. So I don't put too much faith into what I'm seeing right now on the grid. The most important thing right now is the battle that's going on at the front between Zamajo and Finn, and they are lining up on the front row together, and we are going to be looking at all of that action down into turn 1. Okay, that is 4 red lights on, 5 red lights, and it's big delay. Lights out, and away we go here in Belgium. Take a look at the tires here. All of these drivers coming down into turn 1 now. A little bit of a tap there. That's the Renault of Finn getting screwed over a little bit there in turn 1. Is he able to recover without damage? So far, so good, as these drivers now making their way up Eau Rouge. There's Zamajo leading the pack. Falcon and Finn extremely tight. That's Vettel and Velcro behind him. Lutra in the mix as well. So far, everybody clean. No accidents out of Eau Rouge. So I'm very happy to see that. Finn and Falcon trading places. You can see tons of overtaking happening here, and that is the McLaren of Astrodite losing out, I do believe. Or was that Velcro? That was Velcro, so he's dropped down the grid now. Henry in 5th, Vettel 4th, Falcon 3rd, Finn in 2nd, Zamajo with a 2nd gap ahead of the Renault driver, Finn. And we saw Finn just a moment ago take a nice overtake on Falcon there. The battle for the podium positions has begun very earlier on here. And there's Little Bear out of this race. We have a full-blown safety car here on lap 1. So 2nd race in a row with a safety car of some kind here in the opening phase of the race. Little Bear going to be kicking himself after a great performance in Baku, retiring from this one early on. So Zamajo now not. So what is the strat here? Do people jump into the pits, go the whole race on the mediums? It looks like Zamajo's staying out. Finn has gone into the pits. Vettel behind him. This is huge as Zamajo is now on the soft compound tires. Finn is going to get a good pit stop here. Hopefully he's going to be going on to the mediums and make those last the race. Very, very interesting strategy here from the Renault driver, who is currently leading the standings for this tournament. Positions 8 through 1, all deciding to stay out on their starting tires. You can see Yoda and Rackety there on the mediums in 3rd and 4th right now. That hopefully play good to them. BTFU starting this race on the mediums as well, behind Samus right now on the grid. So I'm really interested in seeing how this race is going to unfold with all of the difference in tire strategies now playing a role. As we only have 5 drivers remaining on the softs. We've had Tactical Velcro, Luktra, and Astrode all jump onto those hard compound tires, with the rest of the grid on the mediums. So for those that stopped during the safety car, you are no longer required to stop here in this race, as you've now switched your tire compound. And of course, for all of those guys that stayed out, they will have to pit at some point in this race, essentially promoting all of those early pit stop drivers to better race positions. But of course, only time will tell. We have 11 laps to race here in Spa. As the safety car is deployed here in Sector 2, you can see the grid has slowed right down, all of those gaps beginning to tighten up. Henry catching the grid. We will find out right now whether or not that safety car will be returning in this lap. I do believe it will. I don't know if it's going to wait for Tactical Velcro or not. The majority of the grid has caught up to it, though, and Velcro will most definitely catch up to it this lap as well. So I'm hoping to see that safety car come in this lap. Normally you will know if it's going to come in when it crosses that Sector 3 line. And as we haven't seen anything from race control, I don't believe it's going to be coming in here. But again, it may have a late response here in Spa, as Sector 3 is quite long. But it looks like it's going to be staying out here, and we won't see that car come in until the end of lap 3. So a little bit more slow driving for these drivers to do. And slow driving it is that it's very important to keep behind a safe distance from the driver ahead of you, as we saw Custom a few moments ago taking a severe collision penalty for tapping somebody during safety car conditions. It's also extremely important during safety car not to exceed track limits or cut any corners, because the penalties handed down for that are quite severe. The game reads it as you speeding or driving recklessly, and they hand out super long penalties. I do believe 10-second penalties for stuff like that. So keep it clean through safety car. You can see Custom going into the pits there. Not too sure. Yeah, he's definitely served a penalty in the pits. So fortunately for him, able to serve that penalty, the 5 seconds, during safety car. As a result of that, he is going to have to catch the grid once again, as will Gadwin in the Red Bull. Shouldn't be too difficult, because when the safety car comes in, the race leader backs the grid right up, so that some of these drivers struggling to catch the queue definitely have a lot of time to do so. Now, I will say one thing. Zamajo, I want to say Spain, we had a safety car for the Misfits Racing League Season 2. And we had a safety car come out. Zamajo was in lead of the race. And as a result of the safety car coming in, he went to back up the grid, except he did it in such an abrupt manner. A lot of the drivers ended up rear-ending one another. And we saw a massive amount of carnage, wings lost, and it was quite the scene to see. So if you're interested in checking that out, be sure to hit up our YouTube channel, where you can find the full Spanish Grand Prix race VOD. I highly recommend it. It was quite a good race. But Zamajo Hopefully, not going to repeat the same mistake twice here in this weekend event. Safety car just about to cross into sector 3 now. And we get the message from race control. The safety car will be in at the end of lap 3. So Zamajo slowing things right down, letting that safety car get a bit of a lead ahead of him. So when it comes into the pits, he's able to just fly through over the start-finish line. As you can see, Falcon keeping up with him. Yoda and Rackety, very important for any of the drivers on the medium compound tires right now to get some temperature into those tires, as it takes longer to heat up those tires. They want to make sure they're hot so they don't lose any traction to those drivers on the easier to warm up soft compound. All right, let's gear up for a race restart here. Zamajo crossing the final turn. He is getting on the throttle now. And we are back to green flag racing down into turn 1 on lap 4. It is the Spa Francorchamps Belgian Grand Prix. So, Falcon, Yoda, it's such a big train right now with this restart. It's going to be very hard to watch things, but we are going to keep an eye on the front of the grid as Zamajo in that Ferrari currently in lead of this race. Falcon with a great carry of speed up through Eau Rouge. You can see him absolutely gaining in the slipstream. He's moving to the outside of Zamajo. Is he going to make a move here? Very tight wheel-to-wheel action as both of these drivers come up through into Sector 2. Zamajo doing a very good job of keeping Falcon out of that race leadership position here. Falcon very close to the rear of this Ferrari. Yoda doing what he can to keep up to the Williams. Great racing here at the front of the grid at the moment. Look at Yoda. He's got a lot of traction coming down the hill. Is he able to make something happen here? Look how close he's gotten to that Williams. And Falcon, slip at the rear there. Falcon drops back. He's off wide. Yoda moves up into second position. And there's Rackety and Samus following very closely behind him. Falcon going to be kicking himself on that one. BTFU getting a front row seat to all of that overtaking that's just gone down. And now Gadwin in the Red Bull retiring out of the race once again here. Looks like he had a spin through Sector 2 here just before that 90-degree right-hander into Sector 3. So we have a VSC. All drivers now once again required to slow down their delta. Zamajo is going to take this opportunity with that little bit of a gap to jump into the pits, and we'll see if Yoda does as well. And Rackety also. So all of those drivers who did not pit earlier on in the race when we saw that full safety car taking this very good opportunity to jump into the pits. But here's the problem. Now you can see this. This is huge. Zamajo and Yoda double stacked their pit stop. So Yoda is going to lose a massive amount of track position as a result of having to wait into the pits. And you can see his pit stop there. Very, very slow. Finn back into lead of this race. So Mikau in second, Vettel third, and we're back to green flag racing here. Vettel, you can see, is within a second of Mikau at the moment. Mikau is very, very close to catching up to a second behind Finn as well. Astrodite in fourth. He's having wheel-to-wheel action here with Jay. Jay on the mediums, Astrodite on the hards, and Astrodite making it look really, really easy through there. And there's a three-way battle going on right here for fourth position as Henry is in the mix as well. Jay struggling right now in that Haas. We'll see if Henry's able to make something happen. But Jay, more than likely not going to be able to make a run at Astrodite at the moment. He's losing a lot of time there, and he is on the quicker tires. So Jay definitely struggling. Henry moving up the outside. He gets the move done, and there's a bit of contact. That's Jay on the outside of that turn, or should I say inside, getting caught out by Henry. Very unfortunate for the Haas driver. Henry up into P5 now. Astrodite looking to do what he can to catch up to the podium positions on those hard compound tires. Hopefully that strategy choice for him plays well for him down the line near the end of this race. Vettel still within a second of Mikau now. Coming through the final turn of the circuit. Finn sets the fastest lap, but Mikau says, no. That's my point. He comes across with a 146. flat, I do believe. Double check that real quick. Yeah, 146.6, excuse me. The fastest lap of the race here so far. Next best, closest to him, was Vettel with the 146.803. Sorry, Astrodate with the 148.501. I'm getting myself so confused right now. Yes, I was correct the first time. Vettel has the second fastest lap of the campaign here so far. I don't know why I read the 148 as the fastest lap, but Vettel has dropped behind Mikkel out of that DRS proximity. So Mikkel hopefully able to breathe a little bit as Vettel has fallen off a bit. And we have Yoda, who we saw pit earlier on, fighting with Falcon. Falcon on the mediums, Yoda on the softs. John in P12, BTFU in 11th, Samus in 10th on the mediums. Rackety, soft compound tires in the Alpha. Zamajo is currently running 8th. We saw him in lead of this race earlier on. He's going to have a lot of time to make up in order to catch up with Finn at the front of the grid. But there is still quite a large amount of time left in this race. Although it says we're at that halfway point, you got to keep in mind Spa is a very long circuit. So these laps averaging the 140. Zamajo with Velcro battling now through the Sector 3 straight. Zamajo looks like he may have made that move stick, but it is going to be Velcro making a move back up the inside. He is going to have DRS here coming out of this final turn. Very wide, though, in the McLaren. Jay, alongside him, making a move up the outside into turn 1. One thing to note, both McLarens, the only drivers on grid right now with the hard compound tires. Jay getting a good overtake on the McLaren out of that turn 1 exit. Will he be able to keep it neat up through Eau Rouge? You can see Velcro here. Going to have the DRS on Jay. Will Jay have the DRS on Zamajo? He will. So Velcro and Jay having a drag race down into Sector 2. Zamajo takes a 3-second time penalty. That is going to be crucial to his race finish if he plans on catching the race leader, as I don't believe Finn at the moment has any penalties awarded to him. Zamajo seems to be struggling with his car there. Is it possible he's got damage? It doesn't appear so. Velcro on those hards, struggling to keep up with the very quick J on those mediums right now. Rackety on the softs and the Alpha making up time as well down through Sector 2 here. Samus quite close to the rear of Rackety though, battling to get up the grid in position. BTFU, as usual, following closely behind. As you got to keep in mind, Samus and BTF, who were at the forefront of this race earlier on, were later to pit stop here and had only a VSC to use for their pit stops, whereas some of these other drivers fortunately had that full safety car. As Funky JJ drops a position back to Velcro. Velcro in that McLaren looking good on the mediums right now. And there's Jay with a big chicane cut. He goes off wide, and I think that might be his race done, as he's going to have to turn that car around. He decides to retire it off in the runoff area. He's not having that good of a race. He decides, nah, this is getting sketchy. I don't want to ruin anyone else's race. Good on him. Finn in lead of this race still. Of course, Jay, guys, has just returned to the game. He's still getting those cobwebs sorted out. Thought he'd pop in to see what his pace is like against some of the fast boys from the MRL. Henry in P5 gaining on the McLaren of Astrodate right now. Astrodate on those hards. Henry on the 6-lap old mediums. Henry, theoretically speaking, should have more pace in that Toro Rosso with the quicker tires on. But there he goes wide. Penalties 100% going to play a major role to the finish of this race. As we saw Zamajo here, who's in P6, take a 3-second time penalty earlier on. And we have yellow flags through Sector 2. Henry. Looks like Vettel's off. He's gone wide. He's spun out of control. Vettel, a very, very fast driver here, has just had a terrible 6 races over the past couple of days for the March Madness. Definitely got a feel for him in the Mercedes, as he is, off to the side there waiting for cars to go by to get back on circuit. Very clean driving from him in that sense. Bit of a slip from Falcon there. Vettel decides to retire the car. It's too far gone for him to get back into the points, unfortunately. So Velcro trying to catch up with Rackety. Henry has dropped back behind Astrodite a little bit. Astrodite has moved into third position. Very good for him. And Mikau is just maintaining a very close proximity to Finn. He's within a second and a half right now. It's quite possible he's on a flying lap trying to make up some good time. Couple more yellow flags being waved throughout the race here, and that's custom out of this race. So very unfortunate here. 18 drivers to start the race, only 12 remaining here in Spa. Not too sure how many of those crashes or collisions were attributed by the Eau Rouge section of the circuit. Finn in a comfortable lead at the moment, and not only of this race, but of the weekend event as well, as I do believe we are going to be looking to crown him the MRL March Madness champion. Astrodite doing a good job all weekend long, keeping that car as clean as he can. He has just, I've seen great pace out of Astrodite in his league race this past Thursday for MRL, and he's been doing really great, and I'm glad to have him with us racing. He is quite a fun driver to spectate, as he's always inside of some kind of wheel-to-wheel action. There's Henry going off wide. He concedes a position. It looks like he's having some lag issues at the moment. Not sure what's going on with him. Hopefully it's nothing too major, as he is the host of our session. Zamajo in fourth. Yoda has, unfortunately, I think he's had a game crash as he's left the session. Not like Yoda to just leave races, especially when they are, excuse me, MRL related. Unless he's just had it with those soft compound tires, of course, then I understand. But we are on the second final lap here in Spa, and the second final lap of this March Madness MRL action. Remember, if you guys have been following along with us this weekend, it's been a heck of a ride. Be sure to smash that follow button so that you know when we go live next for our next league races and, of course, our weekend events. Feel free to hit up that Twitter and YouTube as well to find out when all of our content and races are happening. And above all, what I believe to be the most important, definitely join that Discord if you're not a member of the Misfits community. It is a very great place to be, whether you're a new driver, experienced driver. A lot of useful stuff going on there, as we have some action here down into Sector 2. That is BTFU and Velcro fighting. I apologize for missing that action, but Velcro has now dropped into 9th. BTFU in that Toro Rosso looking very, very quick. Looking to catch up his good friend Samus, as Samus is in P7 right now in the Renault. He has had a decent tournament with a couple of decent point finishes, but we've also seen him get into some scraps. We saw him, I do believe it was in Suzuka, lose out on a solid finish, and as a result of the improper tires. And it's always an adjustment in races, because you prepare for one thing and then the race gets started and boom, there's a safety car, and then your strategy gets completely thrown out the window and you have no idea what to do, because everybody else is thinking the exact same thing and no one knows what they're going to do. It's not as easy to predict behavior when these curveballs get thrown at you. As Zamajo very close to the rear of Astrodite through these final two turns of the lap, and we are moving on to the final lap of the race. Zamajo fighting for a podium position here with Astrodite. Mikau currently just shy of 2 seconds behind the race leader Recycle Finn in the Renault, as he makes his way up through Eau Rouge, looking to take the championship for this weekend's tournament on a high note with a win here, as Mikau currently running in second position. Astrodite and Zamajo having a bit of a position swap there. It looks like Astrodite's still out in front of the Ferrari. Zamajo with a huge timing glitch right now. I'm not too sure what happened with his car, as he's lagging majorly on stream right now, and Astrodite has dropped down behind the grid as well. So I'm not too sure what to say about what I just watched. Looks like we may be having some Codemasters lobby issues, as Henry has retired his car. I certainly hope that we didn't suffer a disconnect of some kind. So Finn out of this session, Mikau's still in it, Zamajos appears to still be in the session, but it looks like we've had a last lap drop of the host here. So very unfortunate, but Finn, as he has participated in all 6 of these races, I do believe will be crowned the victor of our March Madness event. All drivers now crossing the line. Mikau taking second. Zamajo rounding up on the podium. After all, in third. Astrodite fourth. Rackety now finally rounding the last corner of the circuit to take home fifth. Samus in sixth. BTFU will jump ahead, though, as a result of penalties. He is fifth to finish here. Falcon in eighth. Velcro in ninth. And Jean, now rounding the final corner, is going to appear in 10th. And Yoda saw leave earlier as a result of possibly a game crash, will finish out the campaign in position 11. Not the finish I'm sure he wanted to have in Spa. But what a great event so far. You can see Finn there on the podium for his 5th time this weekend, taking the race win once again. And cheers to him. He's shown spectacular speed over the course of this weekend. 5 out of 6 race wins, and I am pleased to announce that will crown Mr. Recycle Finn in the Renault our Misfits Racing League March Madness champion and the winner of $25 USD. Congratulations to Mr. Recycle Finn. I'll have to make you another fancy background like I did at the end of Misfits Season 1, which I think you liked. Which I think I'd like to think you liked that, but congratulations to Finn. Mikau, good job on the podium here in Belgium, and Zamajo in third. Zamajo, definitely, I have to say, the runner-up here in the championship, as he was consistently at the front of the grid and did a very good job to try and put some pressure on Finn. Of course, we saw Zamajo take the race win in Canada about an hour ago. So, overall, a fantastic weekend for all of these drivers. And some drivers making out like bandits with great positions, great finishes. Other drivers not getting so lucky, unfortunately. Vettel, I do have to say, definitely going to be one of those drivers who lost out this weekend. But that is going to wrap up the Misfits Racing League March Madness event. Of course, join us on Discord if you're interested in joining the Misfits Racing League or joining a great Discord community, whether you're learning to play the game, you're an experienced driver looking for league racing, or just a fun community to be a part of, definitely check out our Discord. The link is down below. And shoot us a follow here on the Twitch, because we are running fun wheel-to-wheel racing action like this all the time. Every Thursday, at the very least, at 5 o'clock Central, we are doing league racing. And it is a ton, and I mean an absolute ton of fun. So be sure to smash that follow button if you guys liked what you saw here today. That was a ton of fun to commentate. Unfortunately, we had that slight issue in Baku where we had the stream go down temporarily, but definitely a fun event to commentate, and we'll be looking to do more of these here soon. So jump in the Discord if you're interested in knowing when that stuff goes down. Follow the stream so that you know when we are live. And of course, if you're interested in more awesome racing content, check out our YouTube and follow us on Twitter to know when all of the fun is happening. We are going to head on over now and raid Mr. Samus 2177, the founder of the Misfits. Go wish him well, and thank you everybody for watching today, as it was a fantastic time. 3 viewers now ready to go and raid. Looking for a couple of more. 6 viewers, 7. Come on, guys. Let's go raid Samus and wish him well. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Have a great night. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you this coming Thursday for the Brazilian Grand Prix, round number 7 of the MRL Misfits Racing League. See you guys later.